Up next, one of the only rock singer-songwriters to have hits in the 70s, 80s, and 90s tells us the story of a 1979 #1 hit that he was never going to release because he wrote it as a birthday present to his wife. On our exclusive interview, this legend tells us the story on Professor of Rock. Hey music junkies, Professor of Rock, always here to celebrate the greatest artists and the greatest songs of all time. Make sure to subscribe below right now to be a part of our community that is dedicated to the timeless music of the rock era and the story straight from the legends. And make sure you click on the bell so you never miss out on our daily content. Also, check out our Patreon link below. You can become a part of curating this important work and for even more benefits. I'm excited to bring you another episode from our series, Revelations, where featured artists go very deep into their greatest songs and their greatest albums. Today, we sit down with a legendary singer and songwriter that is in a very exclusive club. One of only a few rock frontmen to have a top 3 hit in 3 different decades. When Dennis DeYoung was with Styx back in the day, he sang and wrote many hits, including a top 3 in the 70s and 80s and 90s. To be exact, Babe went to #1 in December of 1979.
You know it's you, babe.
Best of Times and Mr. Roboto both went to #3 in 1981 and 1983. And then Show Me the Way was a #3 hit in 1990. See if you can guess who the other lead singers from bands were that accomplished this in the comments, even solo artists. See if you can guess it. Styx was like a rocket in those days. They just released hit after hit after hit. Now, they burst out of the scene with Lady in 1973, arguably the first power ballad ever.
When you're with me, I'm smiling.
And after a few more top 40 hits, they hit #8 with the classic Come Sail Away. We have the story of both of those songs from Dennis. After that, Blue Collar Man, Long Nights, and Renegade, both written by Tommy Shaw, were in the top 25. And as the 70s wrapped up, Styx released the album Cornerstone in October of 79. It became the band's 3rd straight multi-platinum album. Again, they were one of the biggest rock bands at that time. The album was propelled by the first single, Babe, written by Dennis.
Babe, I love you.
Babe went to #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 in the US. It also crossed over to the AC chart at #9. Went to #1 in Canada and South Africa as well. Went to top 10 in the UK, New Zealand, Australia, and Ireland, so it was a global hit. Dennis tells a very interesting story about how the song came to be and how it was recorded in our exclusive interview next. He also tells us about his new album, 26 East, Volume 1 and Volume 2. Volume 2 just came out, and we're planning on doing a part 2 with him to cover that album. Great album, actually, the Volume 1 and 2. You can get the new album. Both volumes are linked below. It's really an amazing set. Here's Dennis DeYoung with the story. Now, as we go into this interview, I want to thank our sponsor, Zenni Eyewear, my favorite glasses ever. I'm wearing my clear pair here where you can see through them. At Zenni.com, you can customize your eyewear with a prescription lens or a non-prescription lens if you just want the unique look or color or a particular style of a lens. You can also get a pair of sunglasses, add them as a clip-on like I've done with all mine to your prescriptions. Check it out now at Zenni.com. Here's the interview. I remember Casey Kasem. That's when I started listening to the American Top 40, which was pretty much something that people my generation did weekly, who loved pop music. I remember him announcing it as the #1 song, still as clear as day.
You know it's you, babe. Whenever
Always loved Babe. I just love the electric piano at the beginning.
My wife, as all wives in rock and roll, they have to put up with a lot of stuff. Particularly my wife, she married me when I was nobody. She supported me. She traveled with me on the road, raised our daughter on the road. Because after 76, I just didn't want to be on the road anymore by myself. Mentally, it was no good for me. I needed my wife there.
I'll be lonely without you.
I hated the constant coming and going. The separation was, I'm not good at that stuff.
With Babe and Lady, with Lady, you invented the power ballad.
Lady, when you're with me, I'm smiling.
You guys did it. They give you and Led Zeppelin, I've read a couple of articles. Did Led Zeppelin create the power ballad, or did Styx do it? But you did. And after that, pretty much every band out there, they would write 2 songs. They would have the rocker and they would have the power ballad. And that's how they would format everything in the 80s. So I just wanted to recognize that.
I envy people who get such joy from performing. But to me, it's a challenge in perfection. I want to be perfect. And live performance doesn't allow that.
Babe, I'm leaving. I must be on my way.
Earth is against it. Earth is absolutely perfection. As an inhabitant of Earth, I torture myself to be perfect, can't do it. And so I'm always, left feeling I should have done better. I get off the road, and I had a terrible time in 1978 doing the Pieces of 8 tour. I was really, didn't know it, but I felt in a box. I had been making albums. I made 8 albums in a row that were not identical, but similar in tone. And after I did Pieces of 8, I felt like I was running out of gas. I came home, my wife's birthday, I'll write her a song for her birthday party and surprise her. So I just sat at the piano, wrote it in like a day and a half. Done.
The time is drawing near.
I go into the studio. I called John and Chuck up. I said, let's go. I have to demo this. I'm going to give it to Suzanne. Okay. We're very close, the Panazzos and I. Family functions, we're always together. We go to the studio, and the engineer says, I'm sorry, the grand piano is out of tune. You're going to love this story from what you just said. I said, well, yeah, stupid. What do you think I'm here? What am I going to play, flute? In the corner of the studio, a guy named Bobby Whiteside had left his Fender Rhodes there. This is true. I said, I never played a Fender Rhodes. They're tricky. Wurlitzers, they're different kinds of instruments. So I said, bring it out. It's only a demo. And it's only for my wife. It's not for anybody else. It's not for you. You can't have it. So we roll it out. He rolls tape. And so I'm trying to, and but that all that noodling around. Tape was rolling. I hadn't thought it out. No singer there but me. I sang all the harmony parts. It's only for Suzanne. Doesn't matter.
So please believe me, my heart is in your hand.
No guitars because guitar players were on vacation. I take it home, reel to reel. I'm listening to it. I'm thinking, that thing sounds great.
Babe, I love you.
I play it for her, and then people hearing it at the parties, like 30 people. And my buddy Tom Short, we're very close. He's gone, but at the time, he loved his 2 favorite bands, Led Zeppelin, #1, Styx. Why? This is something for the psychiatric community to get involved in. But he loved Led Zeppelin, but he could relate to love songs, like you. There's some people who go, I can't hear that. It's a love song. It's too romantic. It's mushy. It's cheesy. Explain to me how cheesy became a pejorative term. Everybody likes cheese.
It's so true.
Come up with something new. It's fungusy. No one wants a fungus. I digress. So anyway, Tom Short said, hey, that's #1. I went, what? Yeah, that's a hit. So I played for the guys. We came in. Tommy put a solo on. We didn't even re-sing the vocals because people loved the demo so much, I was scared to death to change.
'Cause you know it's you, babe.
And because it was only for Suzanne, I didn't think it needed any guitars for that. And we ultimately, other than the solo, put no guitars on it. It was never intentional. It was never meant to be a Styx song. Never. Just for her. And I went in there doing it like, nobody's going to hear this. We'll give. I should have done that more often. So that is the story of Babe.
Let's talk about the new album, multi-volume collection 26 East, which was your address growing up in the Chicago area.
That's where the band was formed, in that basement, my mom and dad's house. Panazzo brothers lived across the street. Like we talked earlier, walked over, boom, let's have a band.
26 East, I mean, many years of inspiration and curating went into this project. I mean, you had a lot of music in you that you wanted to share.
And so the record is essentially, what is it? I'm 73. It's my life experiences, everything I can remember and tell you about, how I feel about things, because all I do is this. This is all I do. I find some chords on the piano. Then I find some notes that I like that go on those chords. Then I make up words that fit on the notes. And I give you my perspective on my personal life and the world at large, hoping that you will find yourself in my song, my story. That's it. That's what I do. And if you get it right, they treat you pretty good. So that's what the album is. It's a combination of, you'll hear lots of Styx references. And then I was in that band, as I recall. And then there's going to be some stuff that appeals to me. I think you've interviewed Jim Peterick, haven't you?
Oh, yeah. Jim's great.
Yeah, great guy. So it's just me and Peterick working together on half and me doing the other half. And the reviews have been so overwhelmingly complimentary. I have to thank Jim Peterick for convincing me to do it. So if you like Styx and or me, I'd say you could, I think you'd like this record. If you don't like me, don't get it, because I'm all over the thing. Yeah. I'm on every song.
Yeah, let's break down a few of the songs. The duet with Julian Lennon, how did that come about? And tell me about that song. To the Good Old Days.
Good old days when the world was new.
So I went to the piano and I wrote a song, this song, To the Good Old Days, with he and I in mind. Okay. And then I just did a little demo and sent it to him through his business manager. I don't know him. Never met him in my life. Just did it cold, thinking that it's not going to respond. I had no hopes. And then he said he'd be honored to do it. We went to New York. We met. I think, hello. He sang. I came back home. I finished it. I love it. It brings me incredible joy to hear it, because his dad's band meant everything to me. So that's how that. He hadn't been doing music. He hadn't done it for 6 or 7 years. He just, hey, I love the song. I'll do it.
I think he's so underappreciated. I think Julian Lennon's great.
So that's how that happened.
Reminisce about toasting the good old days. I love that song. You also celebrate, though, the here and now and how we all came together and to good times in the future. And I think it's a great song for these times.
I didn't try to overdo it. I just played the song. I didn't try to make it so clever, or not too Beatley, although you know what's going on. And I didn't overproduce it. I just said, let's let the lyric and the music speak for itself. Just we're going right through it.
So hard to say goodbye, so I promise not to cry.
It is my tendency to make the big statement. But in this one, I just let it happen. I love it. The video's cool. Check it out on YouTube, kids. To the Good Old Days. It's all home movies from my life.
See everybody's face in there? We all in there? Everyone smile.
It shows my family, my friends, the early band, the guy behind the Grand Illusion, the real guy, the one you're talking to today.
East of Midnight. Let's talk about that. Grandiose rocker, the orchestral instrumentation, soulful background vocalists. Of course, that unmistakable, roaring Dennis DeYoung vocal. Again, you're going to be humble like you always are, but your voice harkens to the Grand Illusion days in this song. I feel you still have that glorious voice that I remember first hearing as a kid.
A Southside brick bungalow in a lifetime long ago.
Originally written by John Melnick and Jim Peter. They did a demo, and when we started writing, I said, here's my demos. What do you like? Here's mine. Then we started putting songs together. And I heard it, and I said, I can make that into a Styx song. It's got all the elements. Just needs the 3-part harmonies. We'll do this over here. We'll pull a thing. We'll stick it there. I changed the lyrics to make them more autobiographical to my life. And it's East of Midnight, and I kept playing, and I thought, well, if you're looking for that thing, there it is. Right? There it is.
So Volume 2.
Yeah.
What can we expect from Volume 2? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I had to, when I finally realized there were going to be 2 of them, I didn't want to put everything great on one. I'm going to make sure that it's as good as I can give you, because that's the way I know how to do it. And then, good night, Mrs. Calabash, wherever you are.
And good night, Mrs. Calabash, wherever you are.
We should get back together when 2 comes out. I've loved it. It's been everything I hoped it would be. So thank you so much for the music. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Your songs have gotten me through some great times and some really crappy times. And I just really appreciate it. It's been an honor.
Thank you.
'Cause I'll be missing you.
Thanks so much for watching. Isn't Dennis great? Great interview. Leave us a comment about this song. What are your memories of this classic rock ballad and this band and Dennis? What do you remember about this time in music, 1979 going into 1980? Who are the other artists who had a top 3 hit in 3 different decades? Tell us below. We'd love to hear. Click on the links to get Dennis's new album, 26 East, as I was telling you. If you like our content, we do ask you to click on the subscribe button to get more content. Click on our Patreon link. Help us keep the music alive. Until next time, 3 chords and the truth.